I'm remaking this video because the original is trash. Now that the most revolutionary era for Fire Emblem, the 3DS era, is most likely over, it's time to make a list. Awakening, Fates, Birthrate, Conquest, and Revelation, Shadows of Valencia, and Warriors. All games playable on the Nintendo 3DS. I've played all 6 games, and I am here to rank these games in my personal opinion. Just a reminder, this is totally my opinion, not objective. It probably doesn't match with yours. Please respect it. Also, don't worry, I won't be spoiling any plot at all. So if you plan on playing these games, then watch this video and get some recommendations because you should play some of these. They're good games. Anyways, let's begin. Number 6, Fire Emblem Fates Birthright. Even though Birthright is at the bottom of the list, doesn't mean I think it's a bad game. I think it's just an average game. Birthright is actually the definition of an average Fire Emblem game to me. Basic cast, predictable plot, decent maps, and an overall just a 5 out of 10 for me. Average. Of course, the whole game isn't bad. There were some fun maps in the game, and when there were good characters, they were really good. They were great, like Oboro and Takumi. And the music, oh my goodness, the music in Birthright is so good! While I obviously prefer the other 2 Fates games more, the music in Birthright is phenomenal. If you don't play this game, at least listen to the soundtrack. It's so good! Number 5, Fire Emblem Fates Revelation. Placing Revelation above Birthright seems like a cardinal sin for Fire Emblem, but I always enjoyed Revelation. Well, at least on my first run. Fire Emblem Revelation is one of those games like Pokemon Sun and Moon where you can only really enjoy it during the first playthrough, and then all other playthroughs after that feel just boring and repetitive. But what I really loved about Revelation is that you could tell that Intelligent Systems wanted to try different things, and I really respect that, even if some of their experiments resulted in terrible map design. I'm looking at you, elevator map. But when the experimental game design went well, it was great. I love the first labyrinth in Chapter 7, the Ryoma and Xander battle in Sirakencia, which is arguably one of my favorite chapters in Fates. But these great maps don't make up for the terrible ones. But the creativity pushes it a bit beyond Birthright in my opinion. Other factors that bring it down are the story, unable to get every character from alternate routes, and Gunter. Just Gunter. He's the worst. But hey, at least you can actually make a good multiplayer team in Revelation.
Asura, no, stop!
Number 4, Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, I never played the 3DS version of Warriors, but from what I gathered from my friends who own it and others on the internet, it's almost exactly the same as the Switch version. This game received a lot of backlash, and understandably so. The clones, the cast, the campaign, and a lot of other small factors such as the UI. But beyond all those issues is an enjoyable game. The game isn't amazing, but it's certainly a fun hack and slash. The cast is pretty questionable since it pulls from mostly the 3DS games, which is where a lot of the criticism stems from. But more annoying about the cast are their movesets. They're clones. While it's good to have enjoyable movesets, and there are a lot of enjoyable movesets in Warriors, don't get me wrong, some people are really fun to play as, but just don't exploit it, or just don't exploit it a lot. Having almost half your cast as clones is not good. That's unoriginality. But hey, I mean, people liked it obviously because it's the 3rd highest selling Fire Emblem game ever. So I mean, that's good because that means Koei Tecmo is probably gonna make a sequel and that'll be hopefully more polished and have more originality to it. So, you know, I'm just waiting for that sequel. But until then, I'm still playing the original game because it's really fun. It's a fun, casual game, fun hack and slash. I highly recommend it if you're either a fan of Fire Emblem, fan of hack and slash games, or just, you know, just need a casual game because it's just fun to pick up and play anytime. I highly recommend it. It's great. If you want to hear more of my opinions on Warriors, check out my other Warriors videos I have. I have plenty talking about it. It's a good game. Number 3, Fire Emblem Awakening. Oh boy. I really dropped the ball with Awakening in my previous version of this video. Let's talk about the positives first. Awakening saved the f***ing series. I have so much respect for it because of that reason alone. Thank you, Awakening! And beyond that, there are some really great parts of Awakening. The first 11 chapters are fantastic. Awakening easily has one of the best openings in Fire Emblem history in my opinion. So much emotion, a beautiful introduction to the world, easy tutorials. It's incredible, it's just so perfect, easy to pick up and play. While I have my own issues with combat via pair-up, I still know it's a very well-made game. And it's definitely the perfect starting game for the series. Now, beyond the first half of the game is where things get a little rickety for me. The story goes downhill fast in my opinion. The cast doesn't ever get any better, and it doesn't help that I'm not a big fan of the original cast to begin with. And none of the maps really stand out. They're okay, but they just feel generic. But when I think about Awakening, I don't think about the second half of the game. I think of the first half of the game and how they just perfected it. It's fantastic. And even beyond that, the side missions, the online modes, the DLC is actually really awesome. All the fan service they add with Spot Pass, it's just so great. And I mean, I obviously love this game because I put over 200 hours into it. I mean, I obviously love it. I clearly like something about it. Oh wait! I know what makes me really love Awakening. That's right. The waifus and husbandos. Oh yes!
Oh, I'm so happy. I've always wanted a husband.
Number 2, Fire Emblem Fates Conquest.
Embrace the dark. You call home.
I may get flamed for this one, but I love Conquest. Sure, it has some serious plot issues, let's get that out of the way, but everything else is fantastic. The cast, the maps, the gameplay, everything. A lot of people trash the Fates cast, and while there are definitely some rough ones in the game, there are also some really awesome characters, like Baruka, Niles, Flora, Conquest Takumi. There are just so many great side characters and villains, which is part of the issue because the main cast isn't anything too great. It's probably the weakest part along with all the plot holes in the story. While I love Nor the most, it's tough for me to really like some of the royals in Conquest, especially Leo. Sorry, I just could never understand the love for him. Besides him being blonde Marth, I mean, that's cool. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't get it. The maps are also so freaking great. The Great Wall map, Chapter 10, Hanoka's map. So many interesting and unique maps I love playing over and over again. And the gameplay in Fates in general is just so great because it took Awakening's issues and just fixed them all, improved it. It's amazing. But of course, there's also the bad in Conquest. As said before, most main cast is pretty rough and sometimes unbearable. And to top it off, the plot doesn't make the most sense and I've given up trying to defend it. Okay, not really. I will continue defending Conquest story until the day I die. Conquest core makes sense and they make logical decisions, especially for someone who's been trapped in a castle all their life, okay? It makes sense to me. Conquest doesn't deserve the hate, okay? It's a great game. Number 1. Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valencia. Of course, it comes down to Shadows of Valencia, the remake of the 1992 game Fire Emblem Gaiden. And before we begin, I'm being totally honest. Bias is very heavy with this one. I was hoping for a remake ever since I first played Gaiden in 2013. When Shadows of Valencia was announced, I lost my mind. But let's get into the game. Shadows of Valencia has very unique gameplay that's not found in any other Fire Emblem game, like archers having 5 spaces of range, magic and healing costing health, stupidly annoying infinite summons. It's insanely different from what so many are used to, but I think that's why I love it so much. When a game diverts from its normal formula, I'm always interested, whether it's gameplay-wise or story-wise. And as for the story, it's nothing mind-blowing, but what's mind-blowing is the presentation of the story. The voice acting is some of the best I've heard in a game. The pace of the storytelling is superb, and it has some really intense and dramatic moments that weren't in the original game, and if they were enhanced and just made 20 times better. Shadow of Valencia's presentation is the best in any Fire Emblem game in my opinion, and it's one of the biggest reasons why it's my second favorite Fire Emblem game behind Path of Radiance. But I must acknowledge the stupidity of this game. Yes, the maps suck. Mostly. There are some really cool maps, but for the most part, they are exactly the same as they were in 1992, and well, the game design in 1992 was pretty questionable. And they're giant, just annoying to traverse, poorly designed, and just not fun a lot of the time. It's tough to recommend this game because of the maps and drastic change in gameplay compared to the rest of the series. I highly recommend not starting with this game if you haven't played it, but try it out whenever you feel adventurous. It's really good. You just have to accept that it's almost a direct remake of the 1992. Maps and all. But honestly, it's a fantastic game in my eyes, and I think everyone should give it a shot if you're into Fire Emblem. It's really good, it's really different, but there's so much good in it that it makes up for the bad. Thank you all for watching my video. Smash that like button if you liked it, and subscribe for more Fire Emblem and Nintendo videos in general. Let me know your favorite 3DS Fire Emblem games in the comments below. Give me the list, give me the top 6. Come on, let me know your opinions. Thank you all for watching again, and I will see you all next time.